Hi everyone, welcome to Papa's Workshop. Today I have a little bit of a problem that I need to take care of. On my little disc sander from Harbor Freight, the cord broke. And I'm going to show you right up here, the little prong came out of the end of the cord. Other than that, it's a great little sander. So today, instead of throwing it away and buying a new one, I'm just going to replace the cord. So let's get started. You know, at some of the worst possible times, things happen, and my plug broke on my sander. So today we're going to replace the cord on this sander. Now I have a choice. I could actually cut this off and put a new plug on here, or I could just replace the whole cord, and that's what I'm choosing to do. And the first thing we're going to do is get this opened up so we can see how it's connected on the inside. Now that I've got all the screws out, it's just a matter of separating this and taking, in essence, this cover off, and it's splitting the case into the two halves. And it just comes right off, and you can see where the switch actually was connected into both parts. So I'm just taking a look for a moment to see how it slides into place. And then that way I'll be able to easily put it back together when I'm done. The next step in this process is I want to release the wire. So I've got a little clamp that's held in by two screws. I'm going to take those screws out, make sure that I save this little plastic clamp that's a hold down for the wire, and it will release the wire. Now with that little clamp removed, I can actually just pull the wire out and separate it and see what I actually have to be able to work with. Before I begin replacing the new cord, as you might expect, there is dust everywhere from this little sander, and I want to get the insides of it as clean as I can. So I'm just taking the air compressor and lightly blowing out all of the sawdust. And I'm cleaning out this half first, and I want to make sure that I don't have that little cover from the switch blow away. So I'm holding that. Now moving on to the next part where all the little components are, and again I'm using low pressure to just lightly blow out all of the dust that I can possibly remove. I went over to the big box store and just picked up a replacement cord, and this is 8-foot 16 gauge cord, and it's the same type of connector on the end. And this is what we're going to be using to replace the cord on here today. And looking at this, the black wire runs straight over to the off and on switch and just has a little connector that plugs in. And the other one, this wire, has the heat shrink on it, and it is connected to the wire that runs through, and I don't know if it's going to connect to anything else. But that heat shrinked on, and what I'm going to do is cut the wires here, and then I'm going to heat shrink those new wires on and solder them in place. So I'm going to cut that one right there, and I'll cut this one right here. The other thing I want to be able to do, of course, is save this and put it back on as well. So I'm going to go ahead and slip that on right now. That way I won't forget about it. Okay, because that will slip right back into this part. All right, we're going to go ahead and strip the wires now off camera and get this set up to be able to solder. Now what I want to do is separate these wires, these little bitty small strands, and I want to be able to get it where it will actually mesh in between like this. And I'm going to close that down and just twist that. And then I'm going to take the other end and twist it. Now I have some solder that's a resin core solder that I'm going to be using. and it is made for the electronics. So it's going to go ahead and start heating up the wire. And we'll just let the solder flow into those copper strands. It doesn't take a whole lot of the solder to be able to do this. There it goes. See how it just flows right into the copper strands. That's what you want it to be able to do. And there it goes. And that does it. We'll let that cool for a couple of minutes. Okay, now that this is cool, we can just slip the heat shrink material right over it. Just like that. Then I'll take my lighter. There we go. And that one's done. Now we'll move over to the next one and get it connected. And just like we did before, I cut a little piece of the heat shrink material and I'm going to slide it into place and get it out of the way for now. So that'll slide right down here. And I'll take these two wires, fan it out again. We'll fan this one out. There we go. And we'll slip these together and we will twist them. This one's actually a little bit too long. I'm going to shorten this a little bit. There we go. And we'll separate that out one more time. We'll slide that right in there. Hold it in place. Twist this end. And we'll twist the other end. And that looks good. And we'll let that solder just melt right into the copper. There we go. That's how we want it to flow, right in there. Now, I'm by no means a professional solderer, but this is something that a DIY person can do without a whole lot of trouble. Okay, I'm just going to slide this right over to right there. Same thing, we'll just get the lighter. Let that shrink right down. And that looks real good. All we got to do now is put it back together. Okay, the first thing that has to happen is this switch needs to slide right into place. And then these wires have to get fed right around here. That will get tucked down inside. That comes around to this point. And that slides right there where this piece will clip right onto here with the two screws. Okay, and that's good and tight. Then this has to slip right into here. And there we go. So those are all nicely tucked in. That's right in place. So now this can come right on top and slide down into place. And that has to slide right into that groove. Just like that. Okay, now it's just a matter of putting the screws back into place. We'll drop one into each of the holes. Okay. Now we'll just screw these in. Now I'm not tightening the screws all the way tight at this point. I'm just getting it a little bit snug. Okay, now let's look at it. See, that's still where it's not snugged yet, but that's okay. It all looks good. So now I'm going to go ahead and tighten everything up. All right, now let's just test it out and see how it runs. Okay, now that we've got all the screws tightened up, let's just go ahead. I've got it plugged in now, and let's see how it runs. There we go. For $7, we was able to fix this and keep it running. Now, these sanders are not that expensive to begin with. They only cost around $30, but what's throwing away $30? It's actually better just to be able to go ahead and repair it for $7 than throw it away and buy a new one sometimes. Hi everyone, thank you for watching my video today. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. Also, check out the videos over here to be able to stay up to date on the happenings in my shop. So again, thank you for watching my videos.